Do I think about Move every day? No. But when it's brought up, it's like it happened yesterday. I've lived with it all my life.
We had on the radio on KYW, and we started hearing about the cops amassing.
With permission from the police, went down the street to the house and talked with Ramona Africa through the screen door. I just asked, is there any possibility that, you know, we might negotiate this thing out so that there's not, you know, a bad outcome here. She made it pretty clear that they were prepared to deal with whatever might come next, or deal with the police, and that they were committed to a certain, they were taking a stand.
We figured they were going to try to do something. So we took ourselves and the children down to the basement, which is the safest part of the house, and was in accordance with our strategy for protection.
At 5:30 this morning, warrants were to be served on the Move members.
So we eventually took up a position in the rear of the 6200 block of Osage, nearest towards Cobbs Creek Parkway, and we heard the police commissioner make an announcement.
What did Commissioner Sambor say, do you know?
He was telling them to come out.
Could you hear him saying that? What did Mona say?
Yeah, she was just arguing and stuff.
What we intended to do was to create a diversion on the roof of the Move compound. That diversion was to pour a large amount of water onto the bunker itself to obscure the vision of anyone that may be inside the bunker and prevent them from seeing the insertion teams as they made their way down Osage Avenue.
The water was just pouring down on us in the basement. And I mean, this was not for 10 minutes or half an hour. This was for a long time.
We started down the alley. We got down the alley approximately 15 to 20 feet, and the shooting started. And then we hit tear gas, which at that time wasn't supposed to be in the plan. So we had to stop and put our gas mask on. It sounded like a lot of firing coming in front of us. I mean, it was there were shots being squeezed off, and it was rapid shooting. We couldn't wait to get down that alley and make that turn into the house because we had no clue where it was coming from. What we were going to do is we were going to go into the house next to Move. Members of the bomb squad would reach a hole into the basement and onto the second floor of 6223. The purpose was to breach a hole, put a pepper fogger through the wall, leaving the first floor for an avenue of escape for the Move people.
What we wanted them to do was to come out of the front of 6221 Osage and surrender.
The police next door had a 50 caliber machine gun. People, when I called the office and I said, listen, they're using a 50 caliber machine gun, they said, you're crazy. I said, no, I'm not crazy. I have fired them, and I know what they sound like, and I also know that when it goes off, it shakes the floor in the house that I'm in.
At one time, as a result of an explosion in the back bedroom of the house that we were in, that was our explosion, we breached part of the wall. Officer Miller got the pepper fogger started. And I remember standing next to him when he pushed it through the wall. It had about a 4-foot pipe. He got it up and he got it running. But he only got it so far in and he hit something else. And the conclusion that we drew at that time, that they had walls inside the walls.
We had strategies to help protect us. You know, we know how these people come.
We realized that this was not what we anticipated.
They didn't blow 3-inch holes in the party walls. They blew off the whole front of our house.
And then we took a position in the front bedroom of 6223. Move would be to our left as we were looking on the Osage.
The tear gas started coming in. We got the blankets and they was wet, and we had them in the bucket and they was wet, and then we put them over our heads and started laying down.
There was a short lull, very short lull, and then that's when the shooting started. The cops on either side of us and in the back and across the street in front of us, because they just took over people's houses.
Well, while we were standing there and the pepper fogger was working, on the party wall, was the result of automatic gunfire in a semicircle. That wall, on the other side of that wall, would be the move house. And there was a bunker above us also. Well, at that time, under those conditions, we drew the conclusion that Move was shooting through the walls at us. So we all took refuge, and we all fit, almost, into a closet. And I remember Klein, he didn't quite make it in. He was rubbing his leg. What happened is some of the rounds had hit the wooden floor. It was a hardwood floor, and the rounds flew up and hit him. Found out later on, but that time, under those conditions, we thought he was hit. That was the first time I really thought, other than going down the alley, I ain't going to get out of this closet. I really thought that was it for all of us.
According to police, they shot over 10,000 rounds of bullets at us within 90 minutes. Then there was a long lull where, nothing was happening for a long time. And then that's when the cops sent for a state police helicopter.
Did you at some point conclude that the plan had failed?
I think at about 4:45 or 5 o'clock, I had reached the conclusion that we would probably have to wait overnight. That was at the point in time that Leo Brooks called me up.
Would you tell us what you heard the managing director tell the mayor?
To the best of my recollection, sir, and he told the mayor that we were recommending and that I had recommended that the best way to go was to use an explosive entry device to blow a hole in the roof so that we could insert gas in through the roof, and also to use this device to hopefully dislodge the bunker because it presented a danger to everyone, and that we intended to use a police helicopter, a state police helicopter.
And what did you think was the fate of the children in terms of blowing a hole in the roof?
My understanding was that it would work and it would therefore be safe for the children. I did not have any notion whatsoever that anyone on that site would do anything that would endanger the children.
Did you have any information or belief that there was any gasoline stored on the roof of 6221 Osage Avenue?
I don't recall. I've heard that several times since. I don't recall having been told prior to that there was gasoline stored on the roof.
All the men was upstairs.
All the men were upstairs. And then what happened?
They were still up there, and then they came down. Everybody came down.
All the men came down?
That's when the big bomb went off.
Did you hear the big bomb?
It shook the whole house up.
The house shake. We knew something had happened. It never, ever occurred to me that they had dropped a bomb on us. We felt something, but I didn't know what it was. But, in not too long a period of time, it started getting hot and filling with more and more smoke. And we started hearing crackling of the fire, and the smoke was getting thicker and thicker, and we realized then that the house was on fire.
At 5 of 6 that evening, did you tell the fire commissioner to let the bunker burn?
I did not order the fire commissioner to do anything. I requested of him that if we let the roof burn to get the bunker, could we then, subsequent to that, control the fire? I wanted to get the bunker. I wanted to be able to somehow have tactical superiority without sacrificing any lives if it were at all possible.
Sambor said to me very briefly, if we let the bunker burn, can you still put out the fire? And the extent of fire at the time, my only thing I could judge it from my own experience was that, yes, I think we could. However, there was no way to be really sure, because if it had already breached the roof, we had a spread that we couldn't handle because we could not access the property, and consequently the fire started to spread through the cock loft, across the adjoining alleys, across the street. down the block, very predictable, but we could still not access it. We didn't have access to the Osage Avenue or its environs until somewhere around 10 o'clock in the evening.
That's the closest I've ever been to a large fire. The heat would pop the glass. You hear pop. Well, in the beginning, until that was explained or anything else, you couldn't interpret. Is that a gunshot or is it not? You don't know. So now the homes on Pine Street are starting to catch. And the Move house and the house we were in is rolling. What I mean by rolling, the fire's coming out of the windows and rolling up. And I'm just thinking to myself, there's no way anybody can come out of that.
All that smoke and stuff was coming in. That's when the fire was getting heavy and all that stuff was coming in.
We heard over the 150 radio that they're coming out, they're coming out.
The adults were hollering out that we were coming out. We were bringing the children out.
They started just hollering. They were saying, the kid's coming out.
I observed a male, a tall, I thought he was tall, shirtless male come out of the, I didn't see him come out of the house, but I saw him come out of that area from the back of the Move compound.
You say that Rad tried to take Tommaso out?
Mm-hmm.
How was he trying to take Tommaso out?
He opened the thing and had Tommaso and was taking him out, and then they started shooting again, and then they brought him back in.
And what was he carrying?
He had a rifle in his hand.
From about how far were you from him, would you say, sir?
I would say that's approximately 75 to 100 yards in that area there.
A yard, 100 yards?
Yes.
Okay. Could you observe what type of rifle it was?
Not from seeing the rifle.
All right.
But from the report of the rifle, I could.
All right. Did you then hear the report of the rifle after you saw it?
Yes.
Did you see a muzzle flash?
No.
Okay. What did you hear?
I believed it to be 4 quick shots from a .22 caliber rifle.
And the instant that we could be seen trying to come out, the cops immediately started shooting at us. You could hear the bullets hitting all around us, forcing us back into the burning building. This happened a number of times, at least twice. Started getting so bad in there with the fire spreading quickly, and the smoke, that you're faced with a situation where, you're either going to be burned alive or possibly shot to death. So we tried to get out again.
And then out of the smoke, the first person I saw was Ramona.
I got out, I got Bertie out, and everybody was right behind me trying to come out.
Well, I saw Ramona come over the fence.
And she had started to walk down, stop, and she would wave with her hand like this.
And then on the driveway, I see, who was later identified as Bertie, come out of the fire. And he literally came through the smoke and the fire.
There was a board on fire there, and he hopped over that, and he started coming down.
At one time, Ramona reaches over the fence
and tried to pick Bertie up.
And they slipped, and they left back, and he fell backwards.
And I remember he didn't get a chance to put his hands down to break his fall.
Tommy Meller's right there, and Mike Tercey's right with us. At a certain time, he didn't get up. So I had a shotgun. I said,
Tommy, here, take my shotgun. I said, I'm going to go get the kid. At one point did I start out to get Bertie, and that's the first time I realized Officer Tercey was behind me. He grabbed my left shoulder. He said, don't go out there, Jim, it's a trap.
I took my Silverish revolver out. That's all I had at the time. I had a .357 Magnum. And I would turn around and keep looking at Tommy.
I was right in the middle of the driveway looking down, covering both Jimmy and Officer Tercey and Bertie and Ramona.
Bertie eventually gets up. Now he's starting to walk.
We're trying to say to him, son, come over here, come over here. We're trying to get him to come to us.
So I ran out and I scooped him underneath his left arm. And I'll never forget it. The first thing he said to me is, don't shoot me, don't shoot me.
I was locked in on Officer Miller's face. My back's towards Move.
I'm praying that I'm not going to see a change of expression.
And I made like a left to go out to Osage. He then started to say to me that I'm hungry. I want something to eat. I'm hungry.
That's the part I have a hard time with, what this kid went through. I'm hungry. After we went through all that, I'm hungry.
Officer Berghaier, after the bomb was dropped, let's say 5:27 that afternoon, did you fire any weapon that day?
Sir, I never fired my weapon the entire day.
Officer Miller, same question to you, sir?
Also the same answer.
So for me to explain things to certain people, that's my contact. And then later on I found out there was other kids in there. And in essence, I was a brick wall away. So it's something. Now, honestly, do I think about Move every day? No. But when it's brought up, it's like it happened yesterday.